I need to keep reading my Privacy and Freedom book. I actually had to take a break from it. For those who don't know, I've been reading Privacy and Freedom by Westin. This kind of laid the foundation for a lot of the laws, the privacy laws that we have around the world. I want to say around the world, but it's an American author, an American book, and it's America, so they probably make it like sound like it's all around the world, but it might just be the States. I need to keep reading that, but it was actually just getting me a little jaded and annoyed. If you want any kind of modern convenience, like everything has a privacy policy. It talks a lot about kind of like, why do we even care about privacy? Why do we need privacy? You know, it kind of goes into that, and it goes in, I kind of wish it touched, like it might touch on this a bit more like later on in the book, but I wish it touched a little bit on like the psychological impact of a lack of privacy. I think it's something that we've all felt, like when you overshare or something and you get that like icky sinking feeling and you're like, oh my God, like why did I just say that or whatever? Or even like if you're being stalked or something like that, like that's a privacy violation. The only power that holds is the fact that it is a privacy violation. It makes you feel unsafe. It makes you feel like it can cause a lot of like psychological distress. And they touch on that in the book, and they talk as well about how it's like, it's not just humans that require privacy. Like it's all living things have a need for privacy, and we see it expressed in different ways. The requirements changing depending on the culture and stuff. So like there's a lot of different influences on like why people would have a different comfort zone with privacy. Basically, if someone is exploiting your privacy, like what's wrong with that? It's really sad because it was written so long ago, and it's just not, I feel like so many of our laws that are in place for things like privacy, and just honestly any laws around technology at all, are so reactive. They do it because, oh, like something really bad happened, so now we have to put a law in place to prevent that from happening again. That's how they've dealt with it, instead of it. I think maybe because it was written so long ago, or like it's been long enough where we haven't had to think about, like we haven't really been concerned about privacy. I don't know. We just give away all of our information to anyone who wants it, and it's like for the slightest bit of convenience, with the slightest bit of community. I don't know, it was making me kind of sad and like angsty, because I was just like, holy shit, like it feels like we're being exploited. It feels like we're being exploited, and I don't like that. And there's not, like, you don't have that. We're in so deep that it's like, I mean, you don't really get to choose. Like they're like, yeah, you want to opt into our privacy policy? It's like, well, I have to use your online service, so I guess. That's the thing too, is like we're just on like whatever, and this is why I advocate for like self-hosting and for trying to like do things locally, and for trying to, I don't know, just trying to protect yourself a little bit, because it's like we're giving everything to all of these big companies, and then like we're just at their whim. Whatever changes they decide to implement, like they're allowed to do that, and we're allowed to just get absolutely fucked. Like, yeah, like we don't really get to decide on that anymore. I don't know if did we ever really get to? Not really. We always kind of have to go conform to a certain extent, but yeah. Most people that made privacy laws don't understand technology or the internet. I know, like, a lot of the privacy stuff, it's like, I mean, even you look at the stuff with Facebook and how controversial that was, and even, like, it's just, like, all of that controversy is stirred up because they got caught, not because it happened. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure these things happen. There are data leaks happen, breaches happen. Some companies respond decently to it, some don't. And like, just because it happened once and like, okay, now you can change policy, it doesn't mean it's not, like, it's still going to happen. Digital privacy is 100% opt-in, which is the issue. So that it, like, you have to confirm, like, yes, I agree to their privacy policy and blah, 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 blah. But then if you say no, then it's like, okay, get absolutely rolled. Opt-in, meaning we have no privacy unless we put effort into it. The default is personal data. I know, yeah. And no one's like, it's not like anyone's advocating to like no one's going to protect you from that. And most people aren't aware of like, why shouldn't I opt in, you know? So they just get like an insane amount of data, and then big data takes off, and then there's so much bias in big data. For some people, it's like they're doing themselves a disservice by giving out a lot of this data, because it's like they're then getting categorized by location, by who they know, by whatever. And it's like putting them at a disadvantage in life, or an advantage in life, which is whatever. Yeah, privacy is one of those things, like, I want to know more about it. It's not a very mainstream topic. I've been trying to make an effort to like learn more about it. Meta, anything, TikTok, those ones to me are the worst in particular. I like that I can use the platform to just kind of like spark conversation. It's not that you have to necessarily, I actually don't want to tell you what to think. I don't want to tell you this is right and this is wrong. Like, I have no interest in that. That is not the goal. The goal is that like we can have a productive discussion, and you can come out with like, I agreed with this, I didn't agree with this, and you get to like formulate your own opinions on what we spoke about and like on what people were suggesting and whatever. This is just an opinion, but from my point of view in this world, you are the client or the product. So people should pay for services and products, and privacy should be a thing by default. Like being able to choose where you store your data locally or on your own cloud. I agree. I think that a lot of people would still be okay with selling their data if it meant, I think that if people want, like you even see that with Netflix. Netflix adopted that model where it's like you can pay less, or even Crunchyroll, for example, or like there's a lot of different places where it's like, okay, you can have ad free and you pay, or you can have ads and that's free and you can still use it, but obviously you're getting ads and that takes away from the experience. And I think that like, I mean, you should be able to almost like sell your own data to the company, and that is what makes it free to use. And like maybe that means you still get ads and whatever, and they collect your data, or you can pay and like you have the choice to opt out. Because that's what I want, you know? It's interesting too though, because then that also causes another social dilemma, because then they would be collecting a lot more data from from people that like might not be able to afford paying for all these services. Like not everyone can afford that either. Like that would be a privilege to opt out with your data, which means that like, I don't know. This actually talks more towards the social issue caused by social media and why people are against one another. Oh, totally. Yeah.